Welcome to another explainer. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're exploring a hypothetical scenario that honestly feels like a high-stakes political thriller, but it highlights the very real, terrifying fragility of our modern alliances. We are going to be looking at the catastrophic ripple effects of an unprecedented military strike right across the English Channel.
Just let that sink in for a moment. What if France bombed British ports? I mean, this isn't just about two neighboring countries with a long, intertwined history having some minor diplomatic spat. No, this represents a deliberate crossing of one of the most dangerous red lines in modern European history, right between two highly connected, nuclear-armed nations.
Just imagine waking up to this horrifying reality. The sky is tense, the English Channel is covered in thick smoke, and the entire world holds its breath. Literally, in a single night, your regular radio programs are violently interrupted, headlines are absolutely screaming, and emergency sirens are wailing. A shockwave like this wouldn't just shatter docks and ships, It would instantly rattle global markets and shake the absolute core of European confidence. To truly grasp the massive scale of this global fallout, we first have to look at the visceral reality on the ground during those chaotic opening moments of the strike.
Section 1. The epicenter. Now you might be wondering, why target ports? Well, a port isn't just some place where ships dock to drop off cargo. It's an artery of trade, of military logistics, and really national survival. Think about it. British ports carry the food, the medicine, and the fuel that literally keep the country alive. So attacking them, it's like cutting the major veins of a nation's body.
Because of that, the first minutes would be pure, unadulterated chaos. We're talking an immediate influx of terrifying reports, raging fires, and massive panic at crowded terminals that usually operate around the clock, instantly halted shipping lanes, and critically disrupted emergency communications. Radar systems go dark, local authorities are scrambling, and social media absolutely explodes with fear and misinformation. And this local chaos, it instantly forces a massive shift at the highest levels of government.
Section 2. National Response and Escalation. This is where both governments are violently jerked from peacetime operations straight onto a war footing. And this brilliantly illustrates the terrifying disconnect that triggers wider wars. Let's say leadership in Paris convinced themselves this was a limited strike to force negotiation, just a calculated shock to make London back down over some severe underlying dispute. But the UK's view? They would undoubtedly see this as an existential act of war. History teaches us a pretty brutal lesson here. The deadly illusion of a limited military campaign almost always blinds the attacker to the defender's existential dread.
And the sheer speed of this crisis is what makes it so incredibly dangerous. It's a concept military planners call compressed time. In a matter of minutes, air defense alerts spread nationwide. Within hours, the Prime Minister is addressing a panicked nation, while the Royal Navy scrambles to protect shipping corridors. And within days, vital supply chains completely fracture. A strike on these logistics hubs forces world leaders to make monumental, civilization-altering decisions in minutes instead of days. And as London and Paris mobilize, that shockwave violently hits Brussels.
Section 3. The NATO nightmare. So this scenario wouldn't just be a bilateral conflict, right? It would trigger an unprecedented constitutional and strategic crisis for the entire Western alliance. Because here is a reality that changes everything. NATO deters external threats. It is not built to mediate open conflict between its core members. France and Britain are the military heavyweights of Europe. So allies like the United States, Germany, and Poland would desperately scramble to force an immediate ceasefire. But here's the grim reality of the situation. Once blood is actually spilled on sovereign soil, public outrage takes hold, politics harden, and domestic pressure for vengeance makes any sort of compromise almost impossible.
It is shockingly easy for things to spiral entirely out of control through this unstoppable escalation trap. It's almost mechanical. Step 1. Sensors detect retaliatory movement. Step 2. Commanders prepare contingencies, naval assets take their positions, and air defense systems go live. Then, Step 3. A single misinterpreted warning, or just one overreaction, triggers a wider war. Once these massive military machines are set in motion, they are incredibly difficult to reverse. Diplomatic messages simply can't outpace military clocks. And beyond all the military hardware, there's the immediate collapse of the very systems that keep our modern society running.
Section 4. Severing economic lifelines.
So what actually happens when those vital shipping arteries are suddenly severed? Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how quickly a highly targeted military strike becomes a sweeping civilian nightmare. Look at the financial markets. The British pound would fall sharply and EU markets would tumble. In global logistics, ships are instantly rerouted and insurance premiums absolutely skyrocket. But civilian life is where it hurts the most, for sure. Because of our heavy reliance on just-in-time logistics, a disruption in shipping means medicine is delayed, panic buying strips supermarkets completely bare, and severe shortages hit ordinary people within just a matter of days. And the crazy thing is, the damage doesn't stop at Europe's borders.
Section 5. The global shockwave. An event of this magnitude creates a massive worldwide diplomatic panic, with consequences spreading far beyond the initial blast zone. The entire globe reacts instantly. The UN Security Council convenes in a frantic emergency session. Major powers outside Europe, including the US, China, and India, would urge immediate restraint. Meanwhile, cybersecurity teams all over the world would be bracing for severe digital spillover from the conflict. And let's not forget the physical world. If chemical or fuel facilities at the ports are hit, massive environmental emergencies would spread right into nearby waters. This wouldn't just be a clean, contained military event. It would be a cascading humanitarian and environmental disaster. Which brings us to our final chapter.
Section 6. The fragility of peace.
So what does this intense thought experiment ultimately reveal about our modern geopolitical landscape? Well, it shows us exactly what we take for granted every single day. For France and Britain to engage in open hostility wouldn't just be some localized conflict, it would symbolize the collapse of a whole era of civilized restraint. Peace is never automatic, you guys. It's a highly fragile architecture, built entirely on daily restraint, constant negotiation, shared interests, and credible deterrence. The old, comfortable assumptions we have about European stability, they would vanish overnight.
So the crucial point is summarized perfectly by this chilling thought. Modern wars do not begin with total chaos. They often begin with one shocking decision that everyone hoped would never be made. It's a pretty somber realization. The world is full of complex alliances, immense national pride, and invisible pressure points. And all it takes is one wrong move, one catastrophic miscalculation, to completely unravel decades of stability.
Which leaves us with this final, vital question. Are we prepared for the cost of escalation before reality actually tests us? Scenarios like this really matter because they force us to critically examine deterrence, resilience, and diplomacy way before a real crisis ever hits. I really hope this explainer has sparked your curiosity and given you a powerful new framework for looking at global alliances. Keep asking questions, keep examining the invisible systems that hold our world together, and I will see you in our next explainer.